Hi, I'm Stephanie Crossdale White, and I would like to welcome you to the first of hopefully many lectures to come, right? I know many of you, like myself, are studying jurisprudence and are finding that the topic is a bit hard to digest. Presently, I have been going through Austin's command theory and realize that that topic is challenging for many students. The examiners even reported in past exam paper that when given questions about Austin's command theory, students predominantly speak to or spoke to the criticisms of Austin in answering the questions as opposed to Austin's theory, which leave them to wonder if students are actually familiar with John Austin's command theory. Now, I have been reading his lectures, which were published by his wife after he died, and I must tell you, they were so hard to even understand and to follow, right? I remember like thinking that, wow, this just seems like a whole lot of fluff, right? A lot of smoke screen, if you want to call it. Like at some point, it honestly felt like Austin was just blabbering on about something that I couldn't get, and I was like, oh, I understand why it is that no one really attended his lectures. I got it. But then, after reading the lectures several times, it started to, like resonate with me a bit more. And I started to understand what Austin was trying to get. Now, this is part one of lecture one, and I'm going to get into it right now. Alright, guys, so the matter of jurisprudence is positive law, law simply and strictly so called, or law set by political superiors to political inferiors. So Austin believed that positive law and the term law were one and the same. Positive law, or law simply and strictly so called, is often confounded with objects to which it is related by resemblance and with objects to which it is related in the way of analogy, with objects which are also signified properly and improperly by the large and vague expression law. A law is said to be a rule laid down for the guidance of an intelligent being by an intelligent being having power over him. The whole or portion of the law set by God to men is frequently styled the law of nature or natural law, being in truth the only natural law of which it is possible to speak without a blending of objects which ought to be distinguished broadly. Essentially, Austin rejected the term law of nature and deemed it to be both ambiguous and misleading. And he went further to name those laws or rules as collectively or in a mass the divine law or the law of God. As a contradistinguished to natural law or the laws of nature, the aggregate of the rules established by political superiors is frequently styled positive law or law existing by position, as contradistinguished to the rules which that being Austin, styled positive morality, and on which he touched immediately. The aggregate of the rules established by political superiors may also be marked commodiously with the name of positive law. That aggregate of rules, or any portion of that aggregate, is termed positive law, though rules which are not established by political superiors are also positive or exist by position, if they be rules or laws in the proper signification. For the name morality or morals, when standing unqualified or alone, denotes indifferently either of the following objects, namely positive morality as it is, or without regards to its merits, and positive morality as it would be if it conformed to the law of God and were therefore deserving of approbation. Besides the various sorts of rules which are included in the literal acceptation of the term law, and those which are by a close and striking analogy, though improperly termed laws, there are numerous applications of the term law which rest upon a slender analogy and are merely metaphorical or figurative. Such is the case when we talk of laws observed by the lower animals, of law regulating the growth or decay of vegetables, or laws determining the movement of inanimate bodies or masses. Or where intelligence is not, or where it is too bounded to take the name of reason, and therefore is too bounded to conceive the purpose of a law, there is not the will which law can work on, or which duty can incite or restrain. Yet though this misapplication of a name, flagrant as the metaphor is, has the field of jurisprudence and morals been deluged with muddy speculation. Having suggested the purpose of Austin's attempt, well, as you write, he says, my attempt to determine the province of jurisprudence, to distinguish positive law, the appropriate matter of jurisprudence, from the various objects to which it is related by resemblance, and to which it is related nearly or remotely by a strong or slender analogy, I shall now state the essentials of a law or rule taken with the largest signification which can be given to the term properly. So the next lecture or next part of the lecture essentially goes into Austin's command theory. Most of that before covered an introduction of sorts to his first lecture. Now, for part two, I'll go into, like I said before, the command theory, which is a continuation of his lecture one, right? So just to give you like a look forward, and I'm reading from the book, right, which quoted Austin's lecture. And he goes on to say that every law or rule taken with the largest signification which can be given to the term properly is a command, or rather, laws or rules properly so called are a species of commands, right? And then he goes on to explain what he means by that. So it's further broken down in lecture one, which we will look at in part two. Stay tuned.